They say a princess is born to be desired, but what they never say is how dangerous it is to be loved too much, and how foolish it is to wait too long to answer a man whose love burns like fire. I, Princess Olivia of Rosewood Kingdom, almost lost my crown, my dignity, and my heart, not to war, not to enemies, but to the dangerous game of hesitation. This is my story. The first time Prince Brandon declared his intentions, he brought me a gift. It was sunrise, and the palace courtyard glowed with golden light. Brandon arrived with horsemen behind him, bearing baskets filled with wine, pearls, silk, and gold. The villagers gathered, whispering in awe. When he approached me, he bowed low, his deep voice filling the air. Brandon said, "Olivia, daughter of the great King Richard, no treasure compares to the light in your eyes. Let these humble gifts be a shadow of my heart. I seek your hand, not as a prince, but as a man who loves." My cheeks warmed, but my pride spoke faster than my heart. I said, "Your gifts are fine, Brandon, but a crown cannot be worn in haste. I must think." His jaw tightened before he smiled. Brandon said, "Then I will wait, even if the sun waits with me." But even the sun, I later learned, does not wait forever. A week later, during the Festival of Maidens, Brandon tried again. The square was alive with drums and flutes. Maidens twirled, their skirts flying, beads rattling. I joined in, laughing freely. Suddenly, Brandon cut through the crowd, dressed in a white tunic with golden embroidery. He extended his hand boldly before everyone. Brandon said, "Olivia, dance with me. Let the kingdom see the fire between us." The crowd gasped. My heart thundered, but I pulled back gently. I said, "Prince, you are bold, but my heart still needs time." His smile flickered, pride wounded. Brandon said, "Every time you say wait, a piece of me dies, Olivia." He walked away, leaving the crowd whispering. My hands trembled. Why couldn't I say yes? It was not only Brandon who desired me. Christopher, son of Chief Benedict, had long sought my hand. A tall, proud man, strong in battle but cruel in spirit. He hated Brandon with a passion. One evening, he quartered me in the palace garden. Christopher said, "Princess, why waste your time on Brandon, a man too patient to be king? Choose me and I will give you power. Refuse me, and you may find your precious prince ruined." His words chilled me, but I walked away. I didn't know that Christopher would soon join hands with enemies outside our kingdom. As I kept hesitating, something terrible began to happen between Brandon and my personal maid, Anna. It started with whispers. I overheard two maids in the kitchen. One said, "The prince now walks with Anna, the princess's own maid. They laugh like lovers." The other replied, "It is forbidden, yet who can resist a prince's charm?" I laughed it off until that night. From my balcony, I saw Brandon handing Anna a cup of water, his hand lingering too long on hers. My chest tightened. I whispered, "No, he would not dare." But doubt was already planted. Days later, my worst fear took form. I saw Brandon slip a coral necklace around Anna's neck. My necklace. Furious, I stormed into her chamber. "Anna," I shouted, "you carry my secrets, you braid my hair, and now you steal my prince?" She fell to her knees, weeping silently. Her silence was a dagger in my heart. Word spread quickly. The elders summoned Brandon to explain his folly.
Elder Henry slammed his staff and said, "A prince with a servant? It is an abomination. The maid must be punished." The people shouted in anger. I stood silent, torn between pride and pain. My heart wanted to scream, "He is mine." But I said nothing. That night, during the Moonlight Festival, the truth would unfold. When the scandal broke, Christopher seized his chance. He rode secretly to King Nathan of Silver Crest, our rival ruler, and said, "The Prince of Rosewood has shamed himself with a maid. The princess hesitates. Strike now. Their throne is divided." Soon, strange riders prowled our borders. War drums whispered in the distance. My father, King Richard, said gravely, "If our hearts remain divided, our kingdom will fall." I sat in silence, regret tearing at me. My pride had become poison.
At the Moonlight Festival, Brandon stood before the people, dressed in white, and beside him was Anna. When he raised her hand before the throne, the crowd gasped. "It is true," they cried. "The prince has chosen the maid." My heart shattered. Rage consumed me. I stepped forward, shouting, "Brandon, how dare you shame me before the kingdom?" The drums fell silent. Brandon dropped on his hand and walked toward me slowly. Then he knelt before me, to everyone's shock. Brandon said softly, "Olivia, my love, did you truly believe I could belong to another? This was never betrayal. This was a test to melt your pride. I wanted you to see that love cannot be kept waiting forever." Anna fell to her knees, sobbing. "Forgive me, my princess," she said. "I only played my part to awaken your heart. My loyalty is to you." Gasps filled the air. My anger dissolved into shame and relief. It was all a plan, a painful lesson of love and pride. Just as the truth broke, a war horn sounded from the city gates. The enemy was near. Brandon turned to me, eyes blazing. "Olivia, stand with me as my promised queen tonight. If we are united, the people will fight for us. Without you, I cannot hold them." And for the first time, I knew delay was death. I said, "Yes, Brandon. Tonight, before gods and men, I am yours." I pulled him to his feet, tears flowing freely. "You tricked me, but you saved me. I almost lost you to silence." The crowd cheered. My father raised his staff in blessing. That night, under the moon, Brandon crowned me with pearls and kissed my forehead. He whispered, "You are my queen, Olivia, the queen who almost slipped away." The war never came. When King Nathan's spies heard that Brandon and I had united publicly, they fled. Our unity made us strong, and our enemies lost their courage. Christopher was banished, his plots scattered to the wind, and love conquered pride. Now, I tell my story not as a princess, but as a woman who almost lost the love of her life because of hesitation. If you love him, why wait? Why keep him wondering? Why give rivals a chance to strike? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me why you're still keeping him waiting. And if you believe in love that fights, love that forgives, and love that endures, stay with me. More stories of the heart await. Subscribe now so you never miss the fire of love and the lessons of the crown.